Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. If you follow basketball, you know Chilltown Hoops.
So this is really good right here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world, what's going on tonight? You know what time it is when you see me. Chilltown Hoops is in the house. Trying out something new. I'm trying out something new, and I probably should have been doing this, but I hadn't, and I just wanted to see. I just wanted to see what it is, and I'm kind of liking it. What I do is instead of going on early, I'll come on a little bit later to recap some games and see what kind of reception I get and see how this works. Yes, see how this thing works. So, as of right now, if I have to say today, right now, this Oklahoma City Thunder team is legit, just like Cleveland is legit. Now, I ain't one of these people to jump the gun and go, yo, this is what these two teams are in the finals, even though it would be really entertaining. But what that Oklahoma City team did going into New York and handling them like that, I think that speaks volumes for how good this team is. Normally, I don't make a big deal. I mean, I care about the regular season, as you guys know. I do. I care about the regular season. I care about how you respond, right? I care about how you respond in the regular season because these are the dog days of the regular season, right? These are the dog days of the regular season. I think this is the toughest part of the season, this season right here, because I think you got three sections of the season. You got the first third of the season. That's when we are figuring out lineups. That's when we are figuring out rotations and schemes. The season just started. We got new guys. That's the first third of the season. Then you got the second third of the season. It's colder outside. Not only is it colder outside, but the monotony has set in. Guys are injured. Guys are beat up. How can you weather this storm? And then you got the third of the season where, okay, we ramping up. We already got our lineup set. We're healthy. We're ramping up for the playoffs, and we're lining up for the home stretch. I think that this part right here, this is that long drive. If you're taking a 6-hour drive or a 10-hour drive, this is that 3-4 hour drive. This is that 3-4 hour drive where there's nothing on the road and you just got to stay focused. There's no gas stations in sight. There's no rest stops. None of that. You just got to stay focused and keep moving. You have to stay focused and keep moving. This stretch right here, from the end of December to the All-Star break, the better teams during this time are the teams that we're going to see late in May and in June. Those are the teams that we're going to see. The teams that don't and the teams that can't weather this storm, they're going to be gone. I went back and did some homework. It was just like probably 10 years. You know, it was like 10 years. The only team during this stretch of games that I'm talking about, the only team that wasn't above 500 that ended up in a conference finals or the NBA finals was the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2018. That was the only team in the last 10 years. That's how far back I went. I went 10 years. They were the only team. Everybody else from the 2013-14 season up until last season, every team was above 500 that was in the conference finals or the NBA finals. They were above 500 during this stretch. You had the Oklahoma City Thunder in the 13-14 season, right? You had, and I think they saw was it 12-13 or 13-14? I think they saw San Antonio in the West. No, they saw Memphis in the West Finals. They were 20 games, the 13 games over 500. That San Antonio team, they were 13 games over 500, ended up in the NBA Finals. That Laker team that went to the West Finals in 23, I think they were 5 or 6 games over 500. That Atlanta team that went to the East Finals in 15. I mean, they had won 19 straight at one point during this stretch. They were rolling. A Toronto team, I think they were 5 games over 500. This stretch of games right here, you're going to find out you will the better teams in the league. Those are the teams that you're going to see at the end of the season. With that being said, like I said, I wouldn't be as concerned if the game was spread out a little bit. They just saw Oklahoma City a week ago. Literally. They just saw them a week ago. They go into their building and stomp them. They went into their building and stomped them. They were up by as many as 30 at one point. The Knicks' transition defense was garbage. They didn't put any pressure, or they didn't put enough pressure on SGA. They didn't get the ball out of his hands. They didn't chase him off the long ball line. They didn't do anything to stay in front of him. They didn't try to get physical with him. He got whatever he wanted. He had almost 40 in less than 30 minutes. He had almost 40 in less than 30 minutes. He got to the rim. He got whatever he wanted whenever he wanted. Now, there are some people who will sell that, this is a lot harder than it looks. And you know what? There's a part of me that won't argue that, but there has to be some resistance on some level. And I don't think that there was much watching that game. And then Isaiah Joe got cooking. The water got turned on. It started with campaign. And then once that water was on, I mean, he got whatever he wanted whenever he wanted. What's up, Brave? How you doing, brother? He got whatever he wanted when he wanted. And then that was it. I think he had 15 in the second quarter. I think he finished with 21 or something like that. I think he had 15 in the second quarter. And he just got going. And they got, I think, 50 points from their bench, their rotation guys. 50 points. I told you this about Tibbs, and I stand on this. Tibbs will play his rotation guys, but you better do something when you're in there, and you better do something quick, because there's a quick hook when it comes to Tibbs. With Campaign, Precious Achiuwa, and Miles, between all three of them, 10 minutes. That's it. That's it. That hook was quick with Tibbs. He is not playing around. If I'm going to put you in the game, you better do something. Now on some level, I feel like that's a recipe for disaster, because I really can't get going. There's really not much that I can do in that limited amount of time. However, I can do something, right? I think Precious Achiuwa played 6 minutes. Something ridiculous like that. They just got whatever they wanted, and they completely dominated the Knicks on every level. They dominated with SGA getting to the rim. They had no rim protection. They backdoored the Knicks to death. That offense, they were just getting downhill, and not just getting downhill, getting to the rim with ease. It's a bad loss. The Knicks got booed off the floor, which they should have. 100% they should have gotten booed off the floor tonight. But with that performance, yes, they should have gotten booed off the floor. They were garbage all the way around. And it's the kind of game that when you come into your press conference, you tell the media, this is a game. This isn't a throwaway game, no. But this is a game that we will learn from, and there are going to be some changes. 100%. What up, Red? There's going to be some changes. Because that was not a sufficient effort. No, it wasn't. That effort was not suffice. No, hell no. No way does a guy come into our building and go for almost 40 in less than 30 minutes. Don't get me wrong. On some level, you can say, we really tried to stop him. Did you really? Did you throw 2 bodies at him? Did you try to get the ball out of his hands? Were you physical with him? No, you weren't, which would explain why he got what he got when he got it. And because he did that, that set the tone for the rest of those guys. I mean, Isaiah Joe, he got going. Their rim protection tonight was atrocious. There was nobody at the rim last night to cause any real resistance. I'm on record saying it, and I will die on this hill, call up the Portland Trailblazers and ask for Robert Williams. That's all I'm asking. Because I can tell you right now, getting your big fella back, how you work him back in the lineup, getting Mitchell Robinson back. I mean, I don't know how well he's going to work in the lineup, but I can tell you who will work in that lineup for a limited amount of time and be a tone setter, and that's Robert Williams. And I think the Trailblazers would hand him over for a bucket of extra crispy and a 6-pack. I'm pretty confident that they would hand him right over. I'm almost certain of it. So I think every team has a game where it's a watershed game where we got to find out who we are. We got to find out what we're really about. And tonight's game with the Knicks proved we ain't close. We ain't close. Nope. If this is the, and by the way, I have to preface this when I tell you they just played less than a week ago. I would be able to look past this if they played, what's today? January the 10th. If they played in the first week of November. That was 2 months ago. Okay, that was 2 months. We just seen this crew who you was in a dogfight with, who forced like 20 turnovers, and you had enough time because you had a quick turnaround. We just seen this team, and what happened? A prime example would be, I would expect you guys to respond. A prime example would be the Miami Heat. Utah came in there and beat them by almost 40. They see them less than a week later, they go out to Salt Lake and beat them. That's how you respond. No, this ain't what you saw that night. No, that's not us. That is not us. Am I ridiculous enough to think that? Am I ridiculous enough to think that Am I ridiculous enough to think that Oklahoma City could beat them? Are 30 points better than them? Am I ridiculous in thinking that? Are they really 30 points better than them? I don't know about that. What I do know is they kicked their ass. I do know that. That part I do know. That is unacceptable. 100% unacceptable. There were some better games in the association tonight, though. There were. There definitely were some better games in the association tonight. That Orlando Magic Milwaukee game, that was a good game. Paolo was back in effect. He gave Giannis all he could handle, got downhill, got to the rim. But with him doing that, putting the pressure on Giannis, Giannis did the same thing to him and got on the glass. So this Orlando team, which is decimated by injury, still has some bright spots. Cole Anthony, even though if you let the box score tell it, you know how many shots he shot, I'm not buying that. I'm on record saying it, and I will stand on it. I want to give the ball to Anthony Black, and I want him to run the show. That's what I want to do. I want to give the ball to Anthony Black, and I want to let him run the show. No doubt about that. I 100% want to do that. I have to, because I think he's more efficient than Cole Anthony. I think he gets downhill better. I think he's a better scorer. I think he's more versatile on defense. All of those things, which makes me believe that he should be playing he didn't start tonight. No, I don't know if coach was trying to mix up the lineup. Maybe he was. I'm not sure about that. But this thing between Giannis and Damian Lillard, it's getting better. It's getting a lot better. No doubt about that. And I like it. It's getting a lot better. I feel like Dame and Giannis are getting on the same page. I think we're in year 2 of this championship window. I think it's a 3-year window. I think last year, I think that was a transition season. I think this year we get closer. And I think next year you have to contend for the championship. Otherwise, it's time to move on from this thing. No doubt about that. It's time to move on from this thing. So I like what I saw from Milwaukee tonight. When I watch Jackson, as much as I like him on the defensive end, he gives me Andre Roberson vibes. He does. He's a guy who I'm not sure that he can consistently knock down a shot, and that's going to make him a liability on defense, on offense. That's going to make him a liability. So because of that, one or two things has to happen. He got to start knocking down that shot. What up, Sneed? What's going on, brother? He's got to start knocking down shots. And I don't think necessarily the long ball. No, that's not where I'm at with that. That is not where I'm at with that. Where I am with it, though, is he has to be some sort of a threat on the perimeter. He has to. It can't be 4 on 5. No. Because I think he makes their offense so much better if he can knock down an open shot and be a threat on the perimeter. If he can knock down an open shot and be a threat on the perimeter, he makes their offense so much better. So much better. I like the direction that I like the direction that Milwaukee is going in. I do. They're playing better defense, which I really like. Giannis is, I think he's 30. I think he's 30-11 over the last 8 games. He's been incredible. Yes, he's been fantastic. And I think they're a game out the 2 seed right now. Maybe I'm wrong. I had them as the 4 seed. Oh no. That's not true. That is not true. I don't. They're not a game out the 2 seed. I think they're more than a game out the 2 seed. Yeah, they're like 6 or 7 games out the 2 seed. They're a game behind Orlando in the 4 seed. That's where I got that wrong at. Yes. So they're right where I thought that they would be, right around 4 or 5. So, I mean, it would make sense. And they beat a damn good Orlando team, man. They did. I would love to see what this looks like if they can get Franz back. Because this could be a playoff matchup. This could be a preview to the playoffs, which I really like that. Really like that. So, like I said, it was some good action tonight. There was some blowouts. Oklahoma City went into New York and stomped them. Sacramento went into Boston and beat them. I said this to Ox, I think yesterday or today is Friday. I think I said it to him either Monday or Tuesday. I said this to him that whatever day Sacramento played Miami, I said to him, you got your hands full when you dealing with that damn Sabonis. You got your hands full dealing with him. Having to go up against him, fighting with him all night, my goodness. My goodness. Having to fight with that dude all night long. All night long, I got to fight with him. And he's not letting up. And I'm sure he missed a couple of rebounds. That could have been a 30-rebound night. Right? That could have been a 30-rebound night. Babba, what you really want to ask me is, Phil, will you admit that you were wrong about the Celtics? Just say that. Can you just say that? Because then I'll answer your question. Can you just say that? Say, chill. Can you admit that you were probably wrong about the Celtics winning 70 games? Can you just admit, can you just ask that question? Because that's really what you want to ask. And I got no problem answering that. It looks like I'm wrong about the Celtics. I think they're on pace to win 56 or 57 games or something like that. I think they're on pace to do that. Right? I do. I had them winning anywhere between 65 to 70 games this year. I thought that they would be that good, and they haven't been. And tonight proved it. Right? I remember saying that this team should roll this year. Right? I remember saying that I think this team should roll this year, but they have not been consistent. Even though they're still a number 2 seed, They have not been consistent in their rebounding, in their scoring. They have not been consistent in any of those things. And that's largely due to Jason Tatum not being consistent. As good as he's been, he has not been consistent. Jalen Brown's been in and out of the lineup, and when he is in the lineup, he's been inconsistent. They've done a terrible job when they've been bad in taking care of the basketball. Jason Tatum had 8 turnovers tonight. 8 turnovers tonight. The shot selection, you live by the 3, you die by the 3. I think they only took 38 threes tonight, and I know that sounds ridiculous to say that. That's 9 threes a quarter. It's still 9 threes a damn quarter that they took. Right. So with that being said, right? So with that being said, Baba, what's your angle here? Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have a conversation with the people. Baba, what's your angle here? What exactly is it that you're looking for from me, my man? Because like I said, I'm trying to have a conversation with the people. What is your angle here? Do you want me to admit that I'm wrong? It doesn't look like Jason Tatum is going to win the MVP? Is that what you're asking me? No, it doesn't look like Jason Tatum is going to win the MVP, my man. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry I was wrong. Looks like I was wrong. I don't think Jason Tatum is going to win the MVP. I don't know everything. So you want to challenge me on that, or you want to quote unquote hold me accountable for that? Sure, I have no problem with it. Was I wrong? It doesn't look like Jason Tatum is going to win the MVP this season. It looks like I was wrong. So anyway, they've been inconsistent in how they play. When they're good, they're awesome. But when they're not, like nights like tonight, they're a real average team. They are a real average team. And they ran into a hot team in Sacramento. I'm not going to argue that. Nope. I will not argue that. They ran into I think Sacramento, this is their 6th straight win. So they rolled, and that was without De'Aaron Fox. He was off the floor tonight, by the way. No De'Aaron Fox. So with that being said, there has to be some consistency with them. Now, I'm not going to jump out the window, because I remember watching Milwaukee beat them by 40 last year in Milwaukee. I watched them beat them by 40 last year in Milwaukee. And Coach Mazzulla took the guys out, I think in the middle of the 3rd quarter, and they were done for the night. That's it. You guys are finished. There's no more to be said with you guys. No, you're good. We're not doing anything else with you guys. And that was really it. Right? That was really it with when it came to that was really it when it came to Boston last year. I did watch them get destroyed. So I don't like what I'm seeing right now, and I think that it will. Something has to change. Now, don't get me wrong. The sky isn't falling with the Celtics. No, I'm not saying that the sky is falling. You got to do a better job in taking care of the basketball. Right? You got to do a better job in taking care of the basketball. You have to do a better job in scoring. You got to make open shots. You have to. You have to do that 100%. So, and I said that, Ray. I'm not sitting here saying that I was wrong. That I wasn't wrong. I'm saying that. Yes, you are exactly right, Ray. They aren't as good right now as I thought that they were going to be. That's it. They aren't. They are not as good as I thought that they were going to be. I thought that they were going to be a lot better. However, I still think that they win in the championship. I still saw them last year get blown out by 40. I saw them get blown out by 40 against the Milwaukee Bucks, and they still won the NBA championship. So I'm not going to sit here and go that the sky is falling. No, I did think that they were. I did think that they were going to be better. I did think that. 100% I did. And it's not looking like that right now. They're still on pace, I think, to win, unless they go on some sort of ridiculous 15-game winning streak, which I don't think is going to happen. I don't think that that's going to happen. But with that, right, with that being said, they have to be more consistent. And when you play this brand of basketball that they play, you're going to have more times than not, You're gonna have a roller coaster. More times than not, that's gonna happen. So what I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna get lulled into, yo, you was wrong. Yo, no, it wasn't. Season ain't over yet. Season is not over yet, and the sky isn't falling. They lost tonight to the Sacramento Kings. They still got the second best record in the Eastern Conference by a wide margin. By a wide margin. The Knicks got blown out tonight. They're a better team than the Knicks. The Knicks proved tonight. The Knicks proved to me tonight that they're not close. They proved that to me. So the sky isn't falling for me. So with that being said, what does this mean for what does this mean for the rest of the league moving forward? Like, do we have challenges, legit challenges? Yeah, I do think we have them. Yes. I think we got legit challenges both in the East and the Western Conference. This isn't going to be the Celtics losing 2 playoff games. This isn't the Celtics going undefeated on the road in the playoffs like they did last year. You got some. I think you got some real challenges this season, not just in the West, but in the Eastern Conference too. I don't think the Knicks are that much of a challenge, but I think there's some other teams. Milwaukee's going to be a challenge. Cleveland's going to be a challenge. Contrary to popular belief, and I don't really talk a lot about them. I don't talk a lot about them. I want to stay away from the Atlanta Hawks. I do. I want to stay away from them. Orlando's going to be trouble. These teams, when you shoot the three like you do with that kind of variance, you're going to have up and down segments during the season. That's going to happen. No doubt about that. That's going to happen. So with that, what do you stick to that works? I mean, what do you have in your arsenal if you're the Celtics that works? Okay, I know that you shoot the long ball. I'm not on the fence about that. I'm not thinking maybe. I'm not thinking possibly. That's what you do. You shoot the long ball. There's nobody in the league that shoots more threes than you guys do. Nobody. There's nobody in the league that shoots more threes than you do on a night-to-night basis. Okay, we already know that is your mantra. We know that. Okay, so what else do you have when that's not working? The Celtics have always been, even back in the 21-22 season when they went to the finals, 22-23, 23-24, this season, the Celtics have always been one of the better defensive teams. Always. Always been one of the better defensive teams in the game. So, if you are one of the better defensive teams, yes, me and Ox are going tomorrow. But if you are one of the better defensive teams in the game, those kind of things got to create points. We can't just rely as much as we rely on the 3-ball. You can't. Because that's a recipe, especially when you got teams that, one, are better defensively, and two, can crack the long ball and convert. There's a difference between cracking the long ball and converting it. The Charlotte Hornets and Chicago Bulls crack the long ball. When you got a team that cracks the long ball like you, and on top of cracking the long ball like you, they also can convert. All right, so what else can you guys do? All right, what else can you guys do? All right, so with that being said, our defense has to be our mantra. They got destroyed on the glass tonight by one guy in particular. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the Knicks got blown out and the Celtics got handled. I don't think that's a coincidence. And maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know. But I don't think that was a coincidence. That those two teams got blown out. And I think that has to change. And I think it will. I don't think that those. I don't. What I saw tonight from those two teams. Yeah, I don't. That's not something that I'm really saying. Yo, okay, this is indicative to who the Knicks are. This is indicative to who the Celtics are. No, I don't think so. Mm-mm. I still think that we're in the dog days of the season. This is the 2/3. We've already passed. We've already passed a third of the season. This is, in my estimation, this is the second third of the season. I think this is the most important stretch because this sets up the last third of the season. This third right here is the most important stretch. So I expect the Knicks to respond. I expect the Celtics to respond, even though I don't think when we talk about the better teams in the league, like the upper echelon teams in the league, Oklahoma City, Memphis, Houston. I mean, I don't, to be honest with you, Oklahoma City proves tonight that y'all ain't close. No. And Sacramento proved that Boston has to be more consistent. They have to be more consistent because if they're not, that parade that you talking about having, it ain't happening. Mm-mm. So we'll see what happens with we'll definitely see what happens with this crew, and I still think that I think that Shai, right? I think that Shai is. I don't think he's far and away the league MVP, but I do think that he's the front runner. I do. I think he's the front runner. I think that all the stuff that he does, how much he affects winning more. I feel like he affects winning more than anybody else right now. That's not to say that Joker doesn't affect winning because I feel like Joker affects winning. I mean, I think he's league in scoring. I think he's in the top 3 in the league in rebounding. I think he's in the top 5 in the league in assists. And I do think that he affects winning on a high level. But I feel like for what Shai does with that crew and how much better they are when he's doing what he's doing, I don't think that there's a guy that affects winning more than Shai does. I'm already on record saying between him and SGA, even though I felt like Jason Tatum's the better player, I think that there's a separator in terms of these guys as scorers. And I think Jason Tatum will bail you out with a bad shot. And I can promise you, SGA is not. That's what makes him more lethal as a bucket getter. Now, I think Jason Tatum does a little bit more on the offensive end as a ball handler, as a screener, as a distributor. I think he does a little bit more on the glass, but in terms of an overall player. But I'm talking about affecting winning on this Oklahoma City team. I don't think that there's a guy in the league that's affecting winning more than SGA is. I don't. And if the season ended today, I think he's the league MVP. I don't think that there's a guy that can definitively say that they've been better than him. I don't think so. Mm-mm. I doubt very seriously that there's a guy that I can say, and I still think Joker is the best player in the league. However, has he affected his crew winning more? Has he affected his crew winning more than Joker, than Jason Tatum? I don't think Wemby is in this conversation. If I'm being honest with you guys, I don't. Mm-mm. I don't think Wemby is in this conversation off the strength that I'm not having a conversation about a team that's, you know how I feel about the play-in tournament. I'm not having this conversation about a team that's in 10th place. I'm not. Mm-mm. I'm not trying to hear that. Well, they got the same record as they got the same record. San Antonio, they got the same record as as Detroit and Atlanta and and Trae Young and Cade Cunningham are not in the conversation for league MVP. No, they're not. I don't think Wemby is in this conversation for league MVP. He does not affect winning as much as SGA or Joker or Jason Tatum. He does not affect winning like those guys do. No, he doesn't. And I think that we can start to have the conversation about him being a legit top 10 player, because at the 7, I think it gets a little tricky. I do. I think that there's a definitive six guys, maybe 7. I think at the 7, I think the conversation starts to get a little tricky. But I don't think Wemby is there yet in this conversation. So with that, I think this is a 2-man race. And with this, I have a difficult time. As good as Joker has been this season, he won it last year. And I mean, there are some people that say this is the reason why I have a difficult time with this, because there's some people that say that SGA got robbed last year. Robbed? First of all, he lost to the best player in the league. That's number one. We'll start there. He got beat out by the best player in the league. Number one. Number two, he got beat out by the best player in the league, and they were tied for first place with Denver. It wasn't like Oklahoma City ran away with it, kind of like what they're doing now. Kind of like what they're doing now in the West. They were tied with Denver for the best record in the league. So he didn't get robbed. No, he did not get robbed. I'm not buying that at all. No way. He did not get robbed. So with that, and if we got to be honest. I have to be honest with myself about this, right? I feel like I got to be honest with myself about this. So, let me see here. Can you guys hear me? Am I muted? Can you guys hear me? I'm good now. Am I back in effect? Mic check. Let me turn my mic up a little bit more. See where I'm at? I'm good. Okay. Just making sure that I was good. All right. I want to hear from you guys though. I was on playback tonight with with Gilbert Arenas and Rashad McCants. It was good stuff. I enjoyed that. So what up?
Yo, what up, Chill?
What up?
What up, man? It's another bad Tatum game, man. And a lot of people on Twitter are they're blaming Missoula. They think that they're saying that it's Missoula's fault that he's the offense isn't being ran through him. They want him to. I guess they want the offense to look like the other superstars in the league, like Shai and Luka. They just want Tatum to have the ball at every possession. I don't think it's on Missoula. I think if Tatum wanted to play that way, he could. He's the superstar. I just think that's just the type of player he is and the type of shots he takes. And then one thing I don't like about Tatum is, like, I saw it last year. It's like when he gets checked out, he checks all the way out.
Oh yeah,
He
you can
he,
see
he
it.
doesn't stay
He's gone.
aggressive.
He's
He's
somewhere else.
he's yelling at the refs, and I'm like,
Mhm.
man, I used to hate Luka for that, but I used to think, like, man, Tatum does the same thing Luka does. He
Yep,
cries
he
at the
does.
refs,
Mhm.
and I don't know. It's just I keep watching the games, and I keep thinking that one day I'm gonna see a game and Tatum's just gonna have a great game. But I haven't seen that game yet. The best game I've seen was probably that opener against the Knicks. And I was like, man, this is Tatum's year right here. He's about to take off. And it just hasn't been like that. And I don't want to get too much on him. I actually think the problem is Kristaps Porzingis. And I think people forget that last year before he got hurt, I don't think he was having that good of a series against Miami. They had dropped the game with him in the lineup, and they pretty much won the championship without him. He's not
Yeah, I
reliable.
only
It's like every
I think he played
time,
almost 4 games. What was it? 4 games he
yeah.
played last year in the playoffs, something like that.
And it's almost like Joel Embiid. Every time he falls, I'm like, yeah, he probably gonna be out for 2 or 3 months. I'm thinking they should because he has a lot of value. I feel like I think they should try to trade him, and I think Boston. I was telling you last year. I think they need to try to get like Robert Williams. They need an interior presence because this 5 out stuff. I don't like the 5 out system because I don't think even though Peyton Pritchard gets offensive rebounds, I think they need somebody primarily in the paint to get these offensive rebounds because they're going to keep shooting. But now they're starting to miss a lot of shots. And these misses look crazy. I mean, I love Derek White, but he's missing almost every shot he takes. Drew Holiday hasn't been making his threes. Sam Hauser has been terrible from three this year. And I just feel like if they get somebody that's an interior presence, that will force them to run like more action and more plays, and it'll also help them with rebounding.
What I don't want to do is I don't want to go off the deep end with this Celtic team. They still got a comfortable lead at the number 2 seed. I think they got the third best record. Yeah, they got the third best record in the NBA. So it's not like this team is falling off a cliff and oh my God, no, I'm not doing that with the Celtics. Now, don't get me wrong. I did not appreciate that ass whooping tonight with Sacramento coming there and then beating them like they did, and Sabonis dominating their front line, pulling down almost 30 rebounds with a 2020 game. I did not appreciate that at all. However, the sky isn't falling in Boston. They still got the third best record in the NBA. They're still a number 2 seed. They're right behind this. They're right behind Cleveland as the number 2 seed. I think that they are. Yeah, I think they 6 games behind Cleveland for the number 1 overall seed, and it's not great. It's not great, but they ain't in third place. They ain't in fourth place. Nope, that's not going on. They're still the best team in the division. They still got the third best record, and I'm very well aware that they got to be more consistent. I am very well aware of that, and this is not just Jason Tatum, who I know as one of the better players, who I've seen as one of the best players in the league, get busy. I mean, he's had 35-point games. He's had 40-point games. He's had games like that where he's gotten busy. But then I'll get 6 for 21 against Memphis, where he goes 1 for 10 at the long ball line. I feel like if he could be more consistent in his game, I don't mean more consistent in his shot. If he could just be more consistent in his game, I think that we're looking at a better version of him. I think that's where the problem is. Now, as far as Porzingis, we knew that he was injury prone when he first came in. We knew that.
I didn't know it was this bad though.
Oh, 100%. I was not on the fence about it. That I thought that with him being hurt in the playoffs, I thought they got lucky because they tried to preserve him as much as I think he only played last season. He only played 57 games. That was it. They tried to preserve him as much as they could. He stayed beat up. He was beat up in Washington. After he tore his knee up in with the Knicks, he was in and out of the lineup. So this isn't news about him getting hurt. Now, have they gotten everything that they can get out of him? I don't think so. Not yet. I'm not ready to get off of him just yet. I don't want to make that mistake. No.
Yeah, I'm ready to get up with Zingas. It's just I don't think you can trust him, especially in a playoff series if he even plays in the playoffs. But yeah, I agree with you about Shai. I definitely think he's the MVP, and I hope we get a Cleveland Thunder finals because that was some good basketball. So
that was some good
I'm ready
basketball.
to watch them next week though. But I appreciate you having me up.
All right, brother, no doubt. That was some good hoops, man. That was some damn good hoops. What up?
Can you hear me? Hello?
What up?
Chill. I think honestly that they need to run the offense a little bit through JT. I'm more so I subscribe a little more to that idea because they were rolling when they were doing that. Before KP showed up and like it was just Jalen Brown and Jason Tate, they were rolling because they were running the offense through JT.
Now, when you say running the offense through him, you say running the offense through him. What do you mean? Like more isolations, more one-on-one stuff with him?
More, not just that, but like he's the primary passer and facilitator. He's making the decisions for everybody else. He was rolling. You remember that show?
He is that.
He was almost.
He is their best passer. He is their best passer.
He is 100%. But he's not getting the ball as much as he used to. So he's not able to get into his get into a rhythm like he was able to like months prior. Like he was almost 30 a game. Chill. Like you remember last year, he was dropping like 45-point triple doubles. He was like 28, 29, and like 12. He was cleaning glass last year.
I don't even think he was 27 a game last year, so that's not true. I
He
think he was
wasn't.
like 20, yeah, he was like 26 a game last year, something like that. This
I'm
year,
talking about.
his scoring average is
I'm
going
talking.
up this
Oh,
year.
I don't mean last season. I mean like last year, like this season, but last year, like in
Oh, you talking about
2024.
earlier in
Yeah,
this season?
earlier in the season. Sorry, I should
Okay.
have preferenced that. Earlier in the season, he was dropping like 30 points per game, cleaning glass. His assist numbers were going up. Now KP comes in the lineup. Tatum doesn't have the ball as much. His scoring production drops. So when I see that, I think we need to run the offense through him. He needs to make the decisions. That's what I think mostly. You know what I'm saying? Like,
What I'm concerned with this crew is I'm concerned with the identity. Okay, I know that the identity is you shoot the long ball. I get that. That part I won't argue. I think they shoot 53s a game. That's the most in the league. Nobody else is doing that. Okay. Your identity on defense, what is it? Is it Porzingis? Are you a glass cleaning team? Are you a perimeter defensive team?
that's what it
Do you
was
cause
last
turnovers?
season.
Do you cause
Perimeter
turnovers?
defensive.
What are you on defense is my question. I already know what you are on offense. You live and die by the long ball. That's who you are. The long ball sets up the rest of your offense. That's what it does. And I've come to accept that with the Celtics. The Celtics are not a team that's going to throw the ball in the post. They're not going to get downhill. I got to watch Drew Holiday not try to get around anybody. I don't think physically he can do it like he used to be able to do it. I think that's one of his major problems. So I got to watch him shoot at the long ball line. Even though last year he was better, I think he's had a career high last year. This year he's been less than stellar. I got to watch Derek White. I got to watch Derek White also shoot the long ball, and there are other things that we can do to score, but it doesn't seem like they're going to that. It seems like
that's what JT was. It goes back to what I was saying before, Chill. That's what JT was doing. Is that gravity that he was having as a scorer? That's what was setting up everybody else to play so much better. That's what was setting everyone up because Derek was shooting perfectly fine from three earlier in the season. Perfectly fine. He was perfectly okay from the long ball line. Now all of a sudden, KP comes back in the lineup. Tatum has less shots, less opportunities to set people up, less opportunities to get himself hot and get himself going. And now all of a sudden his scoring goes down. That's what I think.
But the offense hasn't changed much. It's not like they're running a different offense. They're running the same
it's
offense.
It's not about it changing. It's about how many possessions he has control of. It's about that. It's not about the offense is going to be the same. It's going to be the same regardless. I just think that he needs to be the primary guy making the decisions. Like, we got to give the ball to this guy and let him set everybody else. Chill, I'm seeing them in the fourth quarter in the meat potatoes games. Jason Tatum does not get ball at all. He does not get the ball.
He's in the corner chilling.
Yeah, he's just in the corner chilling. I'm like, why are we doing that? He's the best scorer.
Why is he not more involved in the offense?
Yeah, like, why is he?
Is that by design? Because if that's by design, then that's the wrong.
It can't be, though. It can't be by design. And if it is by design, then they're right. It is on Joe Mazzulla then. If it's not by
design, then maybe that's who Jason Tatum is. Because I've seen him do it in 22 where he was shying away from the ball. I've seen him do it last year where he was away from the ball and he's in the corner. And here we are this year where we get late in the game.
But the thing is, it wasn't happening earlier in the season. Like, it wasn't happening earlier in the season. Like, they were just giving. How? He hit a buzzer. He hit a game winner, Show. He had a game winner earlier in the season.
Whoa. Just because
not just game winner, but he.
Just
not
because
just
he hit a
game
buzzer
winners,
beater, no, Jay, Jay, I'm not letting you off the hook with that because just because he hit a buzzer beater does not mean that they don't have stretches where Jason Tatum is not involved in the offense. That's been going on all season long. I've seen him late in games. He's in that right corner while JB is operating. He's in that left corner while Derek White and Porzingis got action going on. That's going on. That's not something that I'm just gonna more times than not. He's got the ball late in games. No, that's not what's going on.
Don't you think the offense suffers? But don't you think the offense suffers because of that?
No, I don't.
Don't
think
you?
The offense
You don't think so?
No, I don't. And the reason why I don't think that is because they're a long ball jump shooting team. That their identity. That's their identity. When they get Jason Tatum involved, that's what he does. So he's bailing you out with a bad shot when he has the ball. So it's not like he's consistently getting downhill or like SGA, he's playing in between. He's not doing that. He's bailing you out with bad shots too.
But the thing is, like, even though like I kind of get that. I kind of get that, honestly, because, Jason Tatum, he is taking up some bad shots right now, and he's not making any of them. My concern is that, when I see KP come back in the lineup, all of a sudden this guy's scoring just goes, it's gone. It's just like it goes out the window.
Well,
Because prior to KP showing up, this guy was like dropping 30 a game basically every single night. He was almost a double-double guy. I don't understand, like, all of a sudden KP comes back, his scoring production goes down. It's almost like he's not used to having KP on the lineup. Like, it's almost like he's not used to that.
he has been in and out of the lineup, but good to talk to you, Jay. You know where to find me at, brother. Absolutely.
Have a good one, Chill.
I just think that, when teams lose, and this happens I think that this happens, to the best of them. When teams lose, there's an overreaction from the fans, there's an overreaction from the media, there's an overreaction from the league. I mean, it always happens that way where, why isn't this team this way? And we forget what's actually going on. Celtics got the third best record in the league. They're second in the Eastern Conference by a pretty good margin. They're better than the Knicks. I think they're better than Houston. I think they're better than Memphis too. And I think they're better than Cleveland. And I think they're better than Oklahoma City. So, for all intents and purposes, this team is still on pace to win 58 games, close to 60 games. I still like them in any playoff series. I still like them in any playoff series this season against anybody in a 7-game series. There isn't a team that I'm looking at this season and I'm thinking, I don't know if they can beat them. Not one team that I look at and go, I don't know if they can beat them. Not one. Now, I feel like there's some teams that's dangerous, and I won't argue that. Nope, I will not argue that. But for the most part, there isn't a team that I'm looking at going, I don't think they can beat them. I mean, the losses that they have, losing to Memphis, losing to the Bulls, losing to Orlando, and I mean that Philly game on Christmas, that was awful. Losing to Indiana, I thought that Oklahoma City loss, JB getting shut down. I'm looking at their schedule, and I can't tell you that they have a bunch of bad losses. I mean, I don't see any losses that I'm thinking, this was a bad loss. I mean, they lost to Memphis. Memphis is the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, number 3 seed in the Western Conference. That's a damn good team, that Memphis team is. So, I mean, I'm not sure that they have bad losses, but we'll see. What up?
Hey, OG, how's it going? Happy New Year.
What up? Happy New Year, brother.
I remember I saw a clip where, and I'm not attacking you because I know you got a lot of heat for this, but the Barkley over Giannis take. I don't know much about Barkley, and I just wanted to get more clarification on your reasoning and just out of interest and just know kind of your side of that, of how come you would take him over.
A lot of the reason why we talk about the players that we talk about today, I feel like it's because they're visible. Like how much we see Joker, how much we see Giannis, how much we see SGA. We see these guys regularly. True. We see Joker 2-3 nights a week. I don't see Charles that much. I'm catching the news and 40-10, 40-20, 35-15, 20-20. Like that was going on. That was going on for a 4-year stretch. Mm-hmm. And I think that because we see the players that we see today, how visible they are, that we can get to a point where I'm not going to say overrate guys. No, I'm not going to say that. I don't think Joker is overrated. I don't think the Giannis is overrated. I don't think that at all, right? But if I got a guy in Charles Barkley that for a 4 year, and that's what this was about too, by the way. This was in Barkley's prime, which from 1989 to 1993. This is his peak years, where I'm getting small clips on the news. Barkley goes for 35-12. Barkley goes for 38-19 tonight. But then we got this same guy that's losing in the second round of the playoffs. That's getting bounced in the first round of the playoffs. That guy sounds eerily similar. I think he plays in Milwaukee. That sounds like that guy. Only except we're not seeing him a lot. That's
Yeah.
the difference. Now,
True.
does that mean that Barkley was better than Giannis? I think during that time, the transition player that Barkley was, the one-on-one player that Barkley was, the rebounder that Barkley was, and I think that if we got to see him more, I think that logic
Yeah.
I think that logic would resonate more with people than it does today, off the strength that we get to see Giannis as much as we do. We get to see Joker as much as we do.
Technology has allowed us to constantly see it all the time in clips and all sorts of things. And
Lee, you know how much I would have loved to have seen Stockton more than I did? I would have loved to have seen it. I got to see Stockton on TNT and then in the playoffs. And how many 2020? I mean, I think in 2020 in 90 89 80 between 89 and like 93, Stockton has something crazy like 20 games.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous like that. Now, I got to see him regularly. How are we talking about a guy running around in the NBA having 4 or 5 20 games a season? How are we talking about him?
I think today also we focus so much on threes and offense, and you look at someone like Barkley. I don't know much, but I watched some documentaries and stuff, and he's very versatile. He's very different in different areas. And then today, if you're not scoring an average of 30, if you're getting like say 22, 5, and 4, you're considered a bum because you're not getting 30, 10, and 8 or something. And it's like there are guys that can sustain 22 for 10 years and are just as good as someone who's doing 30 for a smaller pocket of time. And I think, like you said, like seeing it, like I didn't necessarily agree with the take, but I didn't get enough of your side to really say you were wrong or right. So I just wanted to get your perspective.
And Charles Barkley had a let's see, I think he had Charles had a 10-year stretch, almost 11 years. Where he's 25-11 for 11 years.
And I think also what plays with Charles Barkley especially is he was playing at a time with Michael Jordan, and he was overshadowed by that a lot too. Like you've got Barkley, who I remember not to take it too long, but I remember in The Last Dance, he said he considered himself the greatest basketball player in the world in 1992.
And I'm not saying I never thought he was better than Jordan. Never. I didn't think he was better than Malone. But that was a conversation during that time. How good is Barkley? How good is Barkley? Is Barkley the best player in the world? When they showed up in the finals against the Bulls, that was the conversation. Yo, we can settle this right here, right now. We can settle.
And if we were talking about someone today, like it's not much difference than comparing Joker with like Luka or Joker with Giannis or something like that today. And if Michael Jordan wasn't around in the 90s, how would we be talking about Barkley? Maybe he would have won a couple of chips.
Maybe.
You never know. Anyway, man, enjoy your content and talk to you later, buddy.
Brother, you know where to find me at. I just, again, man, I have a really difficult time with I have a really difficult time with just living in the moment. And the reason why I have a difficult time with it is because when people live in the moment, they overreach and then they forget what was going on. Like now, more than ever, this conversation between SGA and Jason Tatum is for real. To the point where you can make the argument that SGA is better. 2 years ago, no, it wasn't. It was not. This was not a conversation 2 years ago. In the 21-22 season, this was not a conversation. In the 22-23 season, it wasn't between Jason Tatum and SGA. It was not. It got louder. It started to get loud last year. And then now, this is where we are. But with that being said, I think a lot can be made for what you've done. That's why I care about a guy showing up and doing something for a long time. Like it's one thing to show up and do something for a season, 2 years. Like when you're doing it 4, 5, 6, 7 years at that level. All right, now we can start talking about this. SGA, I think we're going into SGA's 3rd season, averaging 30 a game. We can have a conversation about this. This is real. This is dead serious. No doubt about that. We can. I am willing to now deep dive into this. I wasn't willing to do that 2 years ago because I didn't think it was a conversation. I now am watching these two guys and I'm thinking to myself, He might be better than him. He might be. I'm not sure, but he might be better than him. So it's about that time for me, guys. It was good to see you tonight. I enjoyed it. You know where to find me if I'm not here. I'm on TikTok Monday to Friday. If I'm not there, I'm on a panel from 11 to 2. If I'm not there, I'm on Chilltown Hoops weeknights. And if I'm not here, you can find me on Saturday afternoon. Me and my man Big Ox. We do it at 12 o'clock. We're going at 12:30 tomorrow, though. 12:30 Eastern. Ox and I are going. And we're going to have some good stuff for you. So I will see you soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. I will talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light. Take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys tonight. No doubt. This was good. I enjoyed this. No doubt I did.